Oh, what a name, bringing a cheer, spreading the fame. He's been so good, not naughty at all, decking the halls with his live stream calls. Jingle bells ring, hear them sing, Santa's got gifts for...
All right, welcome to another action-packed adventure with Fluffy Radish, which is me. Thank you so much for showing up tonight. We have a lot of really cool stuff going on this evening. This will be a continuation of our 2 week ago chat, which is AI content and really the ethics around it. So we're going to have a really good time. First and foremost, I'd like to give shout-outs. So shout out to Snapper Nickel and all of the family over at the FDM network. If you are not familiar with FDM, it stands for Fortnite for Dads and Moms. It is a guild or a conglomeration of like-minded parents who like to game and stream. So shout out to Snapper Nickel. Thank you for all you do. Also want to give a shout out this week to our Pennsylvania Proud Product of the Week.
Pennsylvania Proud.
All right, this week's product it's more of a shout out to a place, a restaurant, a place of business in the Harrisburg area. So Pennsylvania Proud, I like to shout out and support local businesses that are in Pennsylvania. This week, I found an absolutely fantastic location out in northern Harrisburg called Pop's Snack Outlet. And it's out on Mountain Road in northern Harrisburg. What an absolute fantastic location. So it's family-run business, and they carry a metric crap ton of different local Pennsylvania products. They make their own popcorn, their own kettle corn. So they make their own treats and snacks. And in terms of products, they have like just about every flavor of Reading draft soda you could ever imagine. And so shout out to them. They're only really a week into their existence, so they opened last week. I did go out on site yesterday and met some of the owners. It's a family-run business. It was absolutely amazing. You go in and they literally make you feel like family. They give you a little baggie of popcorn. You know, they have a popcorn machine going on, and they're just so friendly. So I highly recommend, if you're in Harrisburg, swing by Pop's Snack Outlet. And this week we are going to celebrate products from Pop's Snack Outlet. So my peanut gallery folks are going to join me in a minute as much as possible. We have some Reading draft soda. We have some different products and whatnot here. So let me pop up our honey pear. Well, you know what? Let's do this first. Let's go ahead and open up the peanut gallery, and let me unmute them. All right, let's give a shout out to everyone in the peanut gallery. Do you want me to give a quick, brief introduction to our peanut gallery this week, or our panel, if you will? So joining us, representing visual artistry, we have Lasagna and Hunter. Are you on?
Woo.
Woo.
Yep.
All right. Representing musicians and musical producers, we have Big Bald Ben and James Allen Steller. You guys on?
Yeah, I'm here. How you doing? This is James.
We're here.
Good to hear you guys. And representing author/writer, we have Nutmeg. Are you on?
I'm here.
All right. And then obviously I am your host, Fluffy Radish. And I will also be representing, or I'm going to try and moderate today, but I will be kind of filling in on musician, producer, author, writer, stuff like that. So that's kind of what we got. First and foremost, if you have a bottle of Reading draft soda, feel free to pop it open. I can't do it. I'm going to give myself an aneurysm doing this here. All right, it's open.
Jarvis open his soda.
Jarvis, the AI will help. So today I am going to be sipping through the stream honey pear. And again, this is Reading Draft Soda. The cool thing, and we've had them on here several times, but the cool thing I love about Reading Draft, one is they use pure cane sugar. No one really likes drinking corn. And two is they use a different bottling process where they actually do slow bubbling so it stays fizzy longer. So I'm drinking honey pear. Anyone else on the stream want to announce what they're drinking today?
I am dumping blackberry cream all over my bed.
All right. Hunter is dumping blackberry cream soda. How about you, Lasagna? What do you have?
I am not dumping it, unfortunately, but I am drinking the Blueberry Lavender Sparkling Botanical Series.
Whoa. And that's actually a new line from Reading Draft Company. When I went into Pops, they told me more than I could ever hope to know and understand of the Reading bottling company's process and whatnot. So, yeah, they have botanicals and stuff. So thank you, Lasagna. Bubba, what you got?
I have a strawberry mint lemongrass flavor.
That sounds very, very ritzy. Delightful. And my apologies to Big Bald Ben and James. I didn't have the ability to ship you a drink. So my apologies.
That would have been quite expensive.
You're up in Alaska, correct?
Yes.
That's a long haul for a soda. All right, and Nutmeg, you are not partaking of the fizzy beverages today. Is that accurate?
I did take one sip of Cheddar's blackberry, what is it? Blackberry
cream soda.
cream. Yep, I did
All
try
right.
a sip. It was very excellent.
Very excellent. So go ahead, if you got a drink, cheers. Be sure to sniff it. Notice the subtle aroma of happiness, and then take a swig. Mine actually tastes very strong of pear, and it actually almost tastes like a wine cooler, though it is not fermented. So very, very good. Pops also provided some of their popcorn for us to try out. So I'm going to pop open, pardon the pun, this is their homemade toffee popcorn, which is, oh my goodness, absolutely fantastic. Can you hear me crunching it?
Rubble, rubble.
Sounds crunchy.
And Pops also gave me some of their regular buttered popcorn.
Yummers.
Just to be polite, yummers. I'm going to try some. It tastes exactly like movie theater popcorn, like with that strong butter. Very, very good. So, all right, again, I'm going to give a shout out to Pops out in Harrisburg. Thank you so much for generously donating products to our stream. We give you a shout out. All right. Let me just do a check-in. Looks like we have no one in the chat. We have 4 viewers. So welcome to all our viewers. If there's anyone out there and want to check in the chat, we say welcome. And bada bing. So we've covered the local treat of the week. Those of you imbibing, what'd you think of the drink?
Yummers.
Mm-hmm.
Good
So
stuff.
good.
Good stuff.
Very herby and delicate.
So, loaded question. Is it better or worse than Mug and a Pug mug? Mug root beer. Out of a bottle, out of a tap, made with corn syrup.
I don't think they're particularly comparable per se.
So, vastly superior, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. That's where I'm going. Thank you for that. So, yeah.
Pug mug.
Mug in a pug mug. And it looks like we got some people in the chat. Welcome. All right, guys. So kind of here's how we're going to work today. 2 weeks ago, I talked about AI and did some AI dialogue on how to potentially use AI as a content provider. I deliberately left off the ethics of this question and just focused on practical uses as a musician, as an author, as a writer, as a content producer. It was a good discussion. Some people gave me feedback that it was very educational, so thank you for that. And what I want to do this week is a little bit different, okay? So this week, I really want to focus on kind of the ethics behind it. And to that end, I've invited a panelist in, and we're going to kind of talk through some of the ethical areas of how AI can impact our respective area of expertise. The ground rules are pretty simple. I'm going to borrow from my dear friend Snappernickel, who says, we don't hate, we motivate. So let's just keep it civil, keep it kind, and we'll just do great, okay? Thumbs up from the panel.
Yar.
Yar.
Thumbs up from the panelist.
All right. So, again, meet the panel. As I mentioned, we have visual artists. We have Lasagna and Hunter. Some of the issues around that we'll get into in a minute. We have Big Bald Ben and James Allen Stellar. I'll call you James if that's cool, James.
Of course.
And author-writer, we have the lovely and talented Nutmeg, who happens to be my wife. So, welcome, Nutmeg.
Howdy.
Howdy, howdy. So let's just do kind of a recap. How does AI work? And in a nutshell, it goes by the principle of garbage in, garbage out. And that's a pretty common term that we use in IT, especially among like databases and programming, right? But in terms of AI, how that plays out is AI companies copy content, whether it's songs, books, images, articles, etc., and they feed it all into a giant data set. So again, that's kind of the garbage in principle. Not necessarily that all songs, books, images, articles are garbage, but again, maybe some of it may be. And then consumers of that AI service, you and I, can tap into that data set. And one use of AI would be just standard AI, where we ask questions and it does research for us. The other aspect of AI is what's called generative AI, where that giant data set can actually create or generate content based on what we ask it to do. A lot of the AI companies typically respond with, well, we only learn patterns with our information. We don't actually hold the original work. Okay, so that's kind of the standard approach that they've been taking. On the flip side, what creators tend to deal with is, well, you copied my work without consent, without payment. Okay, key word here being consent. And legally, you know what, this is kind of a sticky question right now. The AI market is in a state of like the wild, wild west right now. So there's not really a lot of laws around AI. There are a lot of lawsuits involving AI, but we haven't landed on a proper legal framework for AI yet. So again, creators are getting upset, and you have quite a lot of them in the media saying, you copied my work without my consent, copyright infringement, etc. And the back and forth question that's really been in the news lately is, does copying and training a data set comprise of what's called fair use? And fair use means that you can use another person's work, one, if it's limited, two, if it's educational, and three, if there's some form of consent or acknowledging, hey, this material is from the amazing artist Lasagna, as an example. Okay, so that kind of makes sense. Thumbs up. All right, let's kind of jump into our panel. All right, panelists, you guys ready? Let's just start it off and go around, and if you could briefly tell us, as a content creator, how has AI affected your area of expertise as of right now? So let's open it up. I am the moderator, so I'm just going to kind of let you guys collaborate here. Who would like to start?
I can go.
Go ahead, James.
I mean, my area of expertise, you have me as a musician producer. I do poo poo. I do all kinds of art, and I'm also in IT. I feel like AI has affected all these in some way or another. But in my landscape, with as a music and producer, the fact that people can just generate a song, lyrics, like a whole song in just a couple minutes. At first, I think, like, I was really upset by that, and it's like, oh, these freaking people, and I started to realize the only thing that bothered me was our people. That's not what we're talking about right now. How it's affecting what I do is just the fact that people can do what I do now in like seconds. So it affects that something that takes me a whole shit ton of time, other people can do in minutes now, and it kind of, it's created this division among artists also, because we weren't making money anyway. So we're not losing out. I mean, I know that some people have commissions and stuff, but we're still living on scraps. Like, seriously, like.
Can't confirm.
Yeah, it's not like. So they're not stealing this big. They're not taking all our money because we weren't getting any. It's more of it's caused a division in the artist community, because you're either anti-AI or you're not, and most people are to the point of like. It's determining whether you sacrifice babies or not. Like that, it's crazy. It's like, wait, you're pro AI block? God, I hope they die. It's like, whoa. yeah, no. So it's as far as in my landscape, it's caused people to just argue even more. That's the biggest change I've seen.
It seems almost like a binary worldview of AI good or AI bad, and really no middle ground. Is that's kind of what I'm hearing from you?
Or no room for not to care. Like, that's where I am now. I'm like, I don't even give a shit anymore, and that's also not okay. It's like, well, you have to have a stance, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Don't know. What do we know?
I just want to stop fighting about everything.
How about you, Big Bald Ben?
Yeah, I kind of see it as, well, I mean, what James is saying is exactly right. I mean, in the artist communities, at least that we're around, there was a definitive side chosen. I think though, one place where a lot of artists that I'm familiar with draw the line is with the simple, prompt generation of a song.
So
I mean, all you do is
AI.
type in, you type in words, and there's a full song. And I think where people get most upset is when people who do that then call themselves artists and musicians, synonymous with those of us who do this sort of thing manually, for lack of a better word. And so I do see a lot of nuance in some takes, I think, but that is where a strict line is drawn, that James is talking about, that I've seen, is like, if you are okay with prompt generation as an art form, then you are going to run afoul of people who are not. But I mean, and I think that's an important distinction, because AI is a tool, and I think it's going to continue to be a tool. And there's things that you can use AI for, and Autotune is always an example that's brought up. That can help you with music and help you make things better, and for mixing and mastering and things like that. AI mastering is all the rage now as well. So I think there is some benefit to using those tools to shorten some of the things that don't necessarily make it art, just make that art better or easier. And so there's nuance takes in that as well. But I actually use the AI in my job. It was named the AI lead for a government agency that I will not be named here.
Smart.
a few months ago, and I am here in my civilian capacity only, not official.
Good disclaimer.
Just so we're clear. But yeah, so I really think you know, we're in artist communities, and artists are generally uh, uh, vocal and opinionated about a lot of things, and so in this space, it's no different. And but I have experienced what I have experienced is folks who have been making music and producing and doing those sorts of things are generally draw the line at that prompt creation,
So
and then
more
those that come in
generative
with the prompt,
AI.
yeah, those with the prompt creation that come in and say that they're artists, they tend to be in a second camp, and that's where I see the biggest back and forth over.
I'm
So
tagging in. That's infuriating.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, not
in
just
terms
from
of what,
well,
like, pull that thread a little bit. Like, what part of it is infuriating?
Because they're claiming to be something they're not. Like in the same way that their generation is just like it's not an actual thing in my opinion. Like they've create hey, yeah, you created music, but that is not art. You know, like you may have put something together by generating it. I whatever. I don't want to have that around me. Like it's not I don't really care. I would rather hear because I'm all about human connection. I want to connect with human beings. And I don't believe that someone that walks into a room and says, "Hey, I'm a musician," because they generated a song is worth connecting to because they're starting out in a lie. You're not a musician. I'm sorry, you are a prompter. You walk into the room with a prompt. I'll connect with you, prompter. Come in as a prompter. But if you start with a lie, I don't want to connect with you. And furthermore, it's I, I I think it's crazy. I think it's like super crazy that they believe they are this thing at all. Like it's like just I don't understand. Like I don't play a video game and think I'm a soldier. Like it doesn't make any freaking sense to me. It's like, yeah, like I did some things on a computer that doesn't make me a thing.
well, so
I may have prompted a thing. I may have created a thing. I may have like went through Battlefield and shot a whole bunch of guys, but I didn't really do that. That's not.
so
Okay, I'm
James, let
sorry.
me
I
no,
tangent.
that's okay. Let me ask you. No, let me ask you this though. I mean, it's good comments. But let me ask you this. So, I would certainly agree that somebody who does that is not a musician, but are they an artist?
No, because I think art comes from the soul, and I don't think you can prompt from your soul. I think typing out sentences is not like I think there is
So
a
writing is an art.
I think there no I think writing's an art, but I think there's a labor that you go through to create that art, and I think when you
Yeah,
skip that labor, you're skipping the cathartic process that got you to this piece of art, and I
yeah,
think that's what makes art art. Like in the dictionary, it says that art has to come from a human. Like I
right.
feel you skip the human process at the point that you don't put the human in. I think you take the human out. I
Yeah,
think typing a couple. Yeah.
I feel like
I,
it's more like
I
coding.
just also to say on an author, like if someone prompts in, hey, I want to write a story about a duck, hey, make it like Thomas the Tank Engine. You didn't write anything. You didn't write anything. It's the same thing. An author
Yeah, you had
did
an
something.
idea.
They sat there. They came up with a story. They came up with an idea, a beginning, an end, a way to get there. They had to come up with characters. Like
Uh-huh.
that is an actual like cathartic experience to get you there. You draw those characters are drawn from within you. You're like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
creating this character based off something in my life, something like like it's from like you,
yeah, drawing from
and that's
personal
all.
experience and whatnot. Yeah, no, I agree with you, and just playing a little bit of devil's advocate with this, but I do want to get back to one point that you said earlier too, was like that you kind of stopped caring, and one of the
Yeah,
reasons that I've kind of cared a little less is because what I'm realizing is the stuff that is AI generated may sound okay to maybe non-artists or regular folks that don't understand music and they just
Consumers,
like,
maybe?
what's that?
More of a consumer mentality, you mean?
Well, yes, yeah, right. So I think what I'm saying is I think consumers there are some consumer sets that can listen to AI music and be like, okay, it's music, but it's not good. I mean, it's
yeah,
you can listen to it and it's like it's okay, but what I'm finding more and more as I listen to more and more of it is there's no pushing boundaries, there's no surprises. It's just exactly what you expect because somebody's typing in, "Hey, make me a country song that sings about this," and that's exactly what you get is a country song. Like you said, Dom, you come in from you garbage in, garbage out. I mean, it's everything in, but that includes garbage. And
Yeah.
so what comes out on the other end is not, and it really doesn't matter. You could put in only the most groundbreaking rock music that ever existed, and it's still not going to break any new ground when you type a prompt into AI.
Because
So
it's
I'm
using a
getting less and less.
pre-existing data set, so it can't really create something that it doesn't know about.
Right.
Exactly, and I think that's starting
Got
to
it.
come through.
I just want to clear my problem. I have zero problems with AI. All my problems are with the people behind it, like the people that are using it, and only some of the people that are using it. Like,
Oh yeah, if they use it with an
because
attitude like you're talking about, yes.
Yeah.
Whether it's music or art or video or whatever
I
they're
get the
doing.
other side of it for sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I agree with you.
So let's pause there. I want to get some feedback from our resident artists on the panel. So let's open it up. Lasagna Hunter, just how has AI affected your area of expertise?
Oh man.
Lasagna, the
Oh,
grad
boy.
school student in art. Take off the gloves. Let's hear it.
Okay, I'll start out with a story. I'm gonna redact all names and identifying features so I don't like dox myself or whatever. But just the other week, we had a big school-wide critique where students were selected to show their work to a curator of a major gallery, Museum of Modern Art.
And just to be clear, this
And-
is art gallery, like artists.
Yes, we're talking like
Okay,
big wig, like Museum of Modern Art, like
got it.
the galleries that you go to Washington, D.C. or New York City or whatever. You go to that gallery, you take pictures, you go to the gift shop, everyone goes there.
Right.
And like, even thinking like the Met Museum of Art, they run like the Met Gala. So like, big deal, big money, all of that. So we had an artist in one of our departments, and she was a painter, lovely paintings usually, but she showed her work on stage to this curator of the Museum of Modern Art. And one of these paintings had been generated by AI. She told the curator on this stage that she had typed in a prompt and used that to like generate the composition, the colors, the subject, and functionally just painted it from the prompt. And you could feel the energy in the room drop. Like people in the audience were like looking at each other, like people were whispering. You better believe that that resulted in some of like the most intense gossip sessions of all of the students in the school. But like what I noticed is like not only does it I mean the painting that she showed that was AI generated was the worst painting out of all of them. Objectively. I don't make the rules here. It was bad. But it also like took a big hit to her credibility. It's like now people in the school are talking and they're like, does she AI generate all of her paintings? Like how do we know that her vision is like holding up? How do we know that she's not just like AI generating all these paintings? She has no concept of like the process that she's using to, because like she's a painter, not a programmer.
So would it have made a difference if she was transparent about it before she presented it? In other words, you had made, I think, a subjective determination that it was not the best art. Was that decision reached after you knew that it was AI or before? In other words,
That
was it the
decision
lens you
was-
were looking at that determined that? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. No, yeah, I gotcha.
Mhm.
So if you were looking at the paintings as a whole, you could tell it was the one that stood out because her artistic practice, she had a very defined theme. She was looking at like furniture as stand-ins for humanity and doing some really interesting things with that. The AI painting had nothing to do with that. It was the most obvious solution to the problem that she's setting up.
So it's
And
almost like
it
a
kind of just showed
crowbar,
at a first
no
glance.
subtlety at all, no nuance there.
None.
Okay.
Yeah, so it just like there are good ways to use AI in an art setting. It involves a lot of transparency and it involves like a deep understanding of how the technology works, which is like one of the defining features of like if you use a tool, you know how it works and you have to use it well. And a lot of times like when you AI generate an image and like use that and just paint it word for word, you're not really getting you don't know how the tool that you're using works. So you can't really like use it in a way that makes an artistic statement about AI or even like the things that you're painting.
Interesting. And that almost echoes what I think James and Ben were saying, which was really this is cliche, right? But I'm just going to say it. Like, the journey is the destination. Like, the process of creativity, of creating art, whether it's music or painting, basically all that's cut out. And again, I'm regurgitating kind of what I heard James and Ben saying, and it sounds like you're saying, very similar. It's kind of in the same vein. Am I hearing you correctly there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So let's jump over to Hunter. So Hunter, you are an artist in high school. Let's just kind of break it down. How has AI affected your area of expertise?
Surprisingly, it hasn't affected me too much so far.
Okay.
I do know I have to be in fear all the time that people are going to think my work is AI because I am young and I'm good at my work, which isn't very common.
Interesting. So do you feel that and this is kind of hinging on question 2 now, and I'm switching a little bit, but do you feel that like affects or threatens kind of the livelihood, the talent of a human creator? Is that kind of what I'm hearing from you? Did that kind of make sense or no?
Could you repeat it?
Sure. What I'm kind of hearing you say is people are potentially questioning the validity of your art, and you are a talented artist. And I think everyone on this panel, just to be clear, is talented in their art form.
Yes.
It sounds to me like you're facing challenges in this area of expertise that people are questioning the validity of your art. Is that accurate?
Yeah. And I've also had instances where my friends have had their art stolen and put through AI.
Ooh.
And my friends worked hours on that art just for some stranger to steal it and put it into AI and tried to make it look better, which was insulting.
So there's a couple of issues coming out just from that statement, but let me open that up to the panel. Have any of the other people on this panel experienced an incident where your art, and I'm using that term loosely, whether it's writing, whether it's music, whether it's a painting or something, have any of you dealt directly with that impact of someone using your creative process and feeding it into AI, or has that happened to any of you?
They're not feeding me into AI.
Yeah, I was gonna say they got a lot better choices than us.
How about you, Lasagna?
Well, full disclaimer that I work in sculpture.
So that might be a little tricky.
So that is a whole different conversation on how that relates with AI. I think when it comes to the art world, that particular issue affects a lot more like digital artists that work on commission through social media or even websites like I'm thinking DeviantArt or like the more technological like art economy. And like it does happen in the high art world too, but like the conversation is very, very different, especially when you're working in things like sculpture or like hands-on processes like painting.
Got it. And I haven't.
Yeah,
Well, go ahead.
I think like everything else. Well, I mean, people have been stealing other people's art for forever. I mean, scratching off somebody's name and putting their own name on. AI does make everything easier, and that includes the shady nonsense that people do. It makes crime easier. It makes creativity, quote unquote, creativity easier, and so that's another downside of this is that in the past you do forgeries and you painstakingly remove the artist's signature or whatever, and now you can just feed it through AI, and so that's another aspect of AI that's makes everything easier and simple for a lot of people, and that's one of the downsides to that. Exactly what Hunter was talking about.
Oh, that's a very good point. And that branches off into several, I think, ethical subtopics. And before we start tackling some of those, like I want to open it up also to Nutmeg. As an artist, as a poet, how has AI affected your area of expertise? Have you seen any areas where maybe some of your work has been, without your consent, utilized through AI? I just want to get your perspective as well.
No, and I think I'm not sure I'm representing the right thing here because I just want to represent humans because I feel like I'm not on the same level as you guys who are doing this like years and full time and things. I'm just like a hobbyist comparatively, but no, I have so many questions listening to all of you. And my question is like, how the heck would you ever know if somebody, I know there are, detectors, AI detectors supposedly, but why couldn't someone just get their like prompt AI do their painting based on what AI told them? How would you ever know if they weren't upfront about it? And what the heck do we do about it? Yeah, go ahead.
We call it AI slop for a reason. You can see it, you can hear it. Like if AI could make smells, you would smell it. Like it's not it can't like it just can't do human yet. It's getting there.
Yeah.
It's getting there.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like and as it's going faster and faster, how will you know? And I know with music, I understand that is a little easier
you can hear it because it's when it does music, it can't because it's trained on all music. It's trained on bad music as well, and by bad music I mean the stuff that was recorded at a lower quality, like 60s, 70s, 80s. Quality was quite a bit lower then. So when you hear a generated song, there's a lot of training data on that stuff, and you're like, oh, I can hear a hiss and a little bit of reverb on the vocals or crap like that. Like you can hear it. Eventually you're not going to be able to, and that's bad.
Right. And but even like if you're getting help with your lyrics, say, like there's so many things, there's so many areas and levels that it could infiltrate that I just think, yeah, how will you know?
Yeah, that's
and as it gets better.
Proposal I've heard for the regulation of AI is just basically tagging the output. There are tools like DAAM, but those are typically only on runtime. But in general, just like tagging the output with the information that was used on the input is like the only real way to reasonably and consistently going forward, like detect it. Because otherwise, it's just
that kind of goes
average
back
of
to
everything.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to one of the points I was trying to make about consumerism and the consumers with this stuff. So, like Nutmeg was saying, I don't think the average consumer, probably even now, is able to tell. If they listen to a song or they view a piece of artwork, they just think it's good and it's okay, and they listen to it and they can't tell. And that, I think, is where the big danger is. I think that a lot of artist communities like James and Lasagna are able to look at this stuff and see these nuances, as artists that they can tell. And so again, that's one of the reasons why I'm not as concerned about it myself, because I know when I listen, I can hear those things like James is talking about, those little inconsistencies and imperfections that make the performance human. And I'm sure, Lasagna and Hunter can see it in there and when they look at art and things like that. But the big danger of this is just the general consumer that doesn't know, and maybe in some cases doesn't care, and are just consuming the media. And that's, it would be a real shame if we were making any money to begin with. But what it does do is push out, a space where a human artist could be taking up that space, and that's where the real danger is. But you're right,
Yeah.
Nutmeg. It's hard to tell, especially for folks who don't do these sorts of things, often.
I'd like to
Right.
reference a manual to this whole thing. James Cameron, he made Terminator 2, and the whole thing. If you envision it as like they created the robots to fool the humans, they made them so they smelled, bled, like looked like humans for a reason, so they could infiltrate amongst the humans, right? AI is the same thing. They are infiltrating the art world. They are trying to make it look more human, and they are going to get there. I mean, like, I remember when they added artificial breath. I wrote a song about it. They added artificial breath to generated songs. Okay, why did they do that? Think about that. Why would they do that? Why would they add the breath
Yep.
sound? Why are people
100%.
clapping? Yeah,
To
why
make
would
it
they
trick
add the
you.
yeah, exactly. It's going to get there. It's going to get to the point. Like, that's one of the things I used to key on. Oh, the vocalist never breathed, and people do,
Robots don't
cut
need to
breaths.
breathe.
People cut their breaths out of their music. I intentionally now leave all of them. I'm like, well, I'm going to do that. I'm like, I'm going to leave breath in there so I'm a real person. I breathe like a real person. But then they started putting breath into the artificial, like Suno music and shit like that. And I was like, what? So that, unfortunately, the training manuals also said no fate, but they did. You got to look at your resistance, your rebel. They formed a community, and I think that really is I think that is really how, as artists, we are going to survive in communities, because the fact that anybody can do and it's very soon, is going to be able to do anything we can do in seconds, and I believe they're going to be able to recreate our stuff, even they're experimental. At that point, you're going to be looking for communities of artists to experience art together. Like, it's going to be like what we're already doing right now. I just think that's all there's going to be. I think there will be people seeking out human art to buy, and stuff like that. But I just think it's dystopian for us as artists. Like, it's not, no matter how great the world is, at this point.
That's an interesting
point.
Yeah.
But even those communities are already being infiltrated by prompters who claim that they are artists.
Absolutely.
And passing it off as themselves. I mean, I'm part of New Artist Spotlight, and that was a big, it's still a big controversy is, do we allow AI music in? And, one camp says we can't tell anyway, so how can we gatekeep this?
My community is a little meaner about it.
Yeah, right. Well, we've got some. Don't get me wrong. We got some really mean folks and some people who have obviously left the community because, the powers that be in that group just don't feel like they can police it, and so they don't. And stuff that is clearly and easily proven to be AI, it gets treated the same, and that is causing a split in the community, and so.
It
that's
gets through sometimes. We make it very clear in our community that we are not anti-AI, but we are pro-human. So everything we want to see, hear, everything, we want it to be human. And occasionally people try to slip things in, and that's not like I'll lecture. You better believe it. And Beans, oh my gosh, Beans will be, this is trash. This is slop. Why would you play this here? Yeah.
Release the beans.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's an interesting point. So two things. One is, James, you get the award. I knew someone at some point would bring up Terminator. You did it first. Congratulations. I knew that would happen, so I was
mean,
literally
it's a
waiting for
perfect
it.
metaphor for AI.
It really is. And two is, you guys are going into an area, I think all of us, which is the concept of consent, right? Or, if you will, being transparent in what your art medium is. Whether it's like a painting, whether it's a sculpture, whether it's a poem, whether it's a song, etc. So do you feel that being transparent about it and tagging your art, saying that this was made with AI, do you think that would be a solution to this, like ethically, or is it bigger than that?
It'd make me only side-eye you, not just be in disgust.
Side eye. So you'd gain a little cred, but not a lot.
I mean, credit for not trying to pass it off as something that it isn't,
Yeah.
but not
Mm.
credit
Yeah.
for, being on the same level as folks who are putting their blood, sweat, and tears into this.
Thank you for the warning. I don't care anything beyond that.
Right.
So jump over to lasagna to Hunter. Like, would that be a potential solution to the ethical nature of AI? In other words, if someone disclaimed it, would that solve the problem, or do you believe it would not?
I don't think it would fully solve it, but it would definitely help out a lot
Okay.
so people know.
Because there would be no deception in that case, right? I mean, part of the concern I'm hearing is almost the deceptive nature of it. And there are other issues, to be absolutely clear, right? The minimal effort required, things like that. But in terms of the duplicity of saying, "Hey, I'm a musician because I wrote this song," well, you prompted it, etc. Like, if there were a disclaimer on it, and Facebook now gives you that ability to put like a tag of generated with AI and stuff. I'm curious your thoughts, nutmeg lasagna, like, would that be a good solution, or is it just like a Band-Aid on a gun wound?
I think a lot of the problem with the whole AI debacle in the art world isn't necessarily about like, oh, can you use AI as a tool or no, or like how does that work? A lot of it is like a symptom of the problem, which is like society's relationship with art right now.
Mm.
And I'm even thinking of like the way that people frame art and images in terms of content that's consumed. And I think who brought up the idea of like the rampant consumerism in all of this, and just like how we are so desperate for like image after image after image on demand. Like I think that's a symptom, wow, English, a symptom of a larger problem than is particularly within the scope of AI. Because like AI is, I mean, the problems that it's bringing up with copyright, with consumerism, none of this is new. It's kind of just brought to a sticking point with this new technology. And like I don't think the solution is going to be within like terms of the technology itself. It will be in like our relationship to all of the things surrounding it too. So that didn't answer your question at all, but that's what I've been thinking.
No, that's interesting, and it brought up kind of a good framework around it. So in terms of, let's just say, mandatory disclosure, who would, I'm trying to frame this into a cohesive question. So there are musicians that have made it to the, well, I'm going to back up. There are songs that have placed on the top of the charts that it was later discovered that they were entirely created or even partially created using AI. Who would be responsible for disclaiming that? Would that be the responsibility of the content provider, i.e. Suno, ChatGPT, etc., or would that responsibility fall on the person typing on the keyboard? Like, where would that mandatory disclosure fit into this discussion?
I think that the AI companies need to make it so it's tagged into like the metadata from it, however they would do that. Like, I think it needs to be just because the other thing is you're still, that doesn't belong to you even when you generate it. So, like, I mean, it either belongs to the company you generated it from, or, you know, I mean, I'm a firm believer believes whoever originally created it, but that's never going to be determined. That's never going to happen. Yeah, I think everybody needs to disclose it. Actually, everybody.
I think technically, Fluffy Radish, the onus should be on the distributor.
Okay.
Whoever distributes the music, I think the onus should be on them technically. But I think other than that, it doesn't really matter. I mean, on the one hand, it does, and I understand what you're saying. So, like, New Artist Spotlight has a top 20 every week. People vote on the songs that they like, and they make it into the top 20. And the big uproar was caused when a couple of AI songs made it into that top 20. And so I think your question is kind of along the lines of, well, what if there was a top 20 AI songs and a top 20 regular songs? Would that be better? And yes, it would be better. But I don't think, again, because of the rampant consumerism that we have, that most people dig that deeply. I mean, and this, you know, Lasagna brings up a really good point. It is related to this thing because, I mean, look at Spotify, right? You turn on Spotify, you turn on shuffle, and recommendations comes on automatically. They throw crap in that you don't know what it is, and most consumers just want to hear music that they kind of like. They don't know what the song names are. They don't know what the artist is. It's not like when you used to buy a record, you knew everything about the band, and you watched, you know, TV to see stories about the band and things like that, and every song and their meanings. Spotify, you just turn it on and it just plays music, and so people are just listening to that music, and what happens to that, because we don't choose it as consumers. People who are trying to break in or trying to have their art heard are drowned out by the AI slop that we've got going on. So typical consumer aren't going to look at it and say, oh, this is AI, I don't want it on my playlist. They're just listening, and if they like it, they listen, and if they don't, they skip it and move on to the next one. So technically, I understand where you're coming from, and yes, in some cases, I think that would make a difference, and in other cases, I don't think that it would.
That's an interesting. There's a branch there, and like looking at two pieces of that. One is, I mean, how many of you have art on Spotify, for example? Like I have, I think 3 albums on there, and Big Bald Ben, I know you have some on Spotify. James,
Yep.
I assume you have some music possibly on Spotify. Like,
I put my art everywhere because I'm not. I want it to be available for anybody that wants it. I don't really. It's not. I don't have like ethical concerns about them being on DSPs and crap like that. I want it anywhere possible.
So where I'm going with this is that consumerism, that mentality. I mean, be real. Have you actually made any money using Spotify to distribute your music?
Yeah, I mean, some, not much, not enough to cover costs. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, definitely not in my case as well. So that almost seems like a side issue that is compounding the AI conversation, and that is, you know, our society, for better or worse, is built around a consumerist mentality, right? There are people that provide something, and there are people that pay money to consume it. And ultimately, in the issue of music, like very little of the money is actually, like, the musicians just are not receiving compensation for their music, but they're giving up some of that in order to have a wider distribution. So where do you fall on that one? Like, is that, it's another issue, right? And it's kind of off the radar of AI, but I think we would all agree that that's probably compounding this discussion. Do you agree or no?
No, I don't care. I don't. These days, I'm older. I don't care. I only make art, so I don't go crazier. And I share it because I hope to connect with other people that feel like me. I know I'm not going to make any money. I'm realistic about it.
It's fair.
Yeah, I
I'm
think.
not in that.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, man. Um, yeah, I think that money is not the primary motivator for a lot of artists, no matter what age group or what place you are in your career. I mean, for me, and I know for James, it's like I want folks to hear my music and connect with it. And I'm sure for the visual artists, on the call too, same thing. They want people to see their art and connect with it. Unfortunately, because people don't have to pay for it, uh, they don't connect with it as much because they just take as much stuff as they want. And again, like that Spotify model, they just listen constantly to whatever pops up. They see something online that they like and they add it to their wallpaper on their desktop, without thinking about it, without knowing about the artist, because they don't have to pay for it. They can just screen grab it or whatever. I know. It's just it's not tangible in a lot of ways too, and that's part of the technology making this even more difficult. You can just download a file. You can just screen cap a piece of art. You can 3D print something that's modeled.
Well, Nelly,
If you want to go that route, for like Lasagna was saying, so what it does is it takes the place of artists who are trying to connect with their music. It
interesting.
drowns out those folks, and that to me is, at least personally, is much more important and devastating than not making money off of it.
So, Bubba, you're still on,
Agree.
right, Bubba?
Yes, sir.
So you have experience programming back-end data sets and actually programming AI. Is that accurate?
Right. Yep.
So how possible is it, and forgive my ignorance here, but how possible is it to build into the AI model that ability to be able to really tag itself, if you will, saying, hey, this music, this art, this picture, this content was created using AI. Is that even technically feasible?
But there's a lot of caveats.
Continue, elaborate if you could.
So like the actual ingest and encoding of things is kind of tricky to tag because at the end of the day, you're just chewing up a PNG into a couple vectors. And it's not really feasible to tag these vectors as this thing from this person. Tools like DAAM, which is for stable diffusion, I remember it taking off back in the day. Those can heat map what was used to produce an output. So you could query it, say left leg, and it would show you all the parts of the PNG that took influence from those weights for left leg. So you can do that. Otherwise, it's kind of tricky to keep track of all the inputs that you're crunching in.
So what about on the actual export side of it? And I know, I'll be transparent with you guys. I've used Suno, I've used, Midjourney. I've used a lot of AI tools, testing and playing with them, etc. Some of them are able at the export stage of it. So you have your knowledge, your info pool. You have your prompts pulling out information and generating something. But then for me as a consumer to actually get it, and I'm being differentiating between me listening to a song or viewing a picture on the screen, me clicking export, there are technical capabilities there that could tag it. I mean, yeah, there are ways around it, but would it be possible? Two, would it help alleviate the root issue here?
It is trivial to just slap some tags in the metadata of just about anything. I've seen tools that even put full prompts and model hashes, everything like that in the metadata itself, so you know exactly what it is, what it did, where it's from, and all that good stuff. But you can, like, I'm trying to think of a better word than circumcise. You can cut out
Circumcised. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
You can cut out all the parts of that metadata, like, as the exporter to, like, hide what you're doing, so it doesn't really fix it 100% if you want reliably tagged outputs.
Okay. And again, we're kind of off the beaten path per se, but I'm just curious where do we stop this? Like where? So my personal opinion is this, right? We are really in an infantile state as a society with AI. It's been around a while, but I think James made this point earlier. Like, it was very, very easy to tell that something was AI created. It had very distinct fingerprints on it. But we're now getting to the point where you have things like deep fakes and things like that, where people are able to, reverse engineer a musician. For example, I saw in one article I was reading, someone took a Beatles song, fed it into AI to reverse engineer it, to basically backwards prompt it. Now they have the essence of the Beatles as a prompt, and then they literally can say, okay, use this persona of the Beatles that was reverse engineered and write new songs as the Beatles. Like, the technology is really picking up pace. We're in the wild, wild west. There's really no concrete laws. There are individual state laws. There are, the current administration is looking to have one sheet of music. But how do we move this thing forward ethically? And this is kind of an open question. I'm rambling, but what do you guys think?
I'm gonna let James go first.
Okay.
I know he's got a lot.
So, I actually have something.
I know where you're going.
Basically, what we need to do is we need to send someone back in time, and what they have to go is to visit maybe Sam Altman, and when he was a child, I don't know, Elon, I don't know, but we got to send someone back in time, and we have to stop Skynet before they build it. Okay, that's what we need to do.
That's
Someone
incredibly...
needs to make a time machine. Somebody needs to make a time
I hear
machine.
this, and I agree wholeheartedly.
Simple and economical solution. I like it.
I hate to pull an AI.
are dead.
I hate to pull an AI and copy things of the past, but maybe this is what we need to do. Okay, that's it.
So
Yeah, I think we're in trouble because the corporations, Spotify, Google Images, all these folks that deal with art are 1,000% on board with this. They are already working with and have partnerships with AI generation stuff because everything is easier. If Spotify only had AI music, holy crap, and better AI music that they owned, they would be extremely happy. So, and I wondered if James was going to go down the conspiracy route there because it sounds conspiratorial, but
I'm trying to hold it in, Ben.
but I mean, it's not really conspiratorial. These companies have billions of dollars, and there are many of these companies that deal with art and see art as a commodity, and their customers as rightly so sometimes as non-caring, rampant consumers. So to see any legal impact come out of this at this point is, I think, nil, next to nothing. And I really think that the future of art is going to have to be underground. There's going to have to be, there's going to have to be, like, for instance, images, like multiple angles, videos of you painting a painting, making it, things like that people will demand. That it'll go underground and become smaller until the companies start to fail and then try to commodify that. But I think that's really the only way, because I don't see, with the power that these corporations have and the lobbying power that they have on the government, I don't see government as being the answer, and I certainly don't see the self-moderation of corporations as being the answer.
So, on that point, let's reach out. Well, hold on. let's bring in someone from the government who knows a great deal, dare I say, a huge amount of information about AI.
Hello?
Hello, President Bubba. Are you there?
It is I, the Honorable President of the Galactic Universe.
So we're talking about AI, Mr. Universal President. What do you view as the solution to the AI crisis we're in right now?
I say we make the people, we turn them into artificial intelligences also. That way everyone's on even footing. Nobody has to be left out. This is what the people they're telling me. They're saying they want this.
So you recently released a video of you flying an airplane and dropping poop on people. Was that AI generated, or did you actually fly that plane?
I'm going to decline comment until I have legal counsel present, but I will say I don't know how to use an AI.
So what do you know about AI? Can you give us something, your Royal Highness?
The robots, they're very helpful, very handy. You tell them what to do and they do it sometimes. Only sometimes, though.
So, wow. Well, thank you, Mr. Supreme Leader President, and we...
Wait, I have a question.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, so there's been this rumor going around that your last presidential speech, your last presidential address was AI, and I've been looking at it, and I did think you looked quite a bit different. Was it AI? And that's just to bring up the fact I think they might be AI videoing people. All right, that's all. Bye. Conspiracy.
Interesting.
You would have to defer to the lizard people. They were the ones who wrote the speech to begin with, so if it was AI, it's their fault.
So the lizard people wrote your speech?
Yes, it's all their fault.
Interesting. Well, there you have it. Any other questions for His Royal Highness? Thank you for that. So let's switch gears here. We've had a very good discussion, and I want to thank all of you so far. Let's jump over to the Wheel of Radish. Are you guys familiar with the Wheel of Radish, how it works? How about
It's time once again for the Wheel of Radish!
So
Oh my goodness,
Wheel
the wheel is big today.
of Radish, and it is the AI edition. Can you all see my screen okay? See the Wheel of Radish?
Betcha.
All right, so here's how the Wheel of Radish is going to work. I'm going to spin the wheel. It's going to bring up an AI topic, and we will vote yay or nay, spelled Y-A-I or N-A-I, of that topic. In other words, ethics and whatnot. So this is going to get us kind of digging into some of the in-the-weeds ethical dilemmas, if you will, of AI. So let's go ahead and spin it and see what we get. And notice there's a Terminator there, James. Figured you would appreciate that. All right, so the first topic, AI virtual companions. So this is actually an area of AI that's taking off. There are several companies that have virtual companions where you can have a virtual girlfriend, virtual boyfriend. Some of them allegedly can create the persona using AI, so it would literally look like you're talking to a human. Yay or nay, ethics? Is this ethical?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
As long as it's disclosed.
So consent being the key word here.
I'll tell you what, though, one thing I've used, all the AI virtual companions at Grok, by far the best.
At Grok. So, Lasagna, Hunter, Nutmeg, thoughts? AI virtual companions.
Is the question whether it's ethical or whether it's a good idea?
Yes.
That does change the answer.
Well, twofold. Is it a good idea? Is it ethical? You know, that's a continuum. That's shades of gray. Like, what are some of the concerns you would have with an AI virtual companion?
I mean, I've heard things about AI tending towards narcissism. I mean, it just feels like a very dangerous undertaking. Um, yeah, I don't like the idea, but I guess, like you said, like whatever. You consent, you're an adult, whatever.
Well,
Yeah, at its core,
I don't think it's a good idea.
it's a moral issue, or like a moral issue. It's not the end of the world, but it is the moral issue. Is again like the consumerization of them, because now the virtual companions are trying to get you to upgrade your plan, to do this or that.
and
Like, at its core, it's not an issue.
so let's go into like we're on a gray continuum. Let's go into the darker area. There have been incidents in the news where minors have been using an AI companion, and the data set has encouraged them to self-harm.
Oh, minors, that's not ethical. To do it with minors is not ethical. I mean, in my opinion. I think that makes a difference.
Well, what if it convinced an adult to self-harm? I mean, is that any better?
Well,
I mean, it is better than
the
a
adult has
minor,
enough
but
life experience to they should have enough life experience at this point to make wiser decisions than a child. We're supposed to train and protect children, and when we push
Yes,
them
I
into an
agree.
AI or push it, like, yeah, no, I think it's a completely different story when it's an adult.
Yeah, it's a bad idea all the way around, even for adults. But
Agreed.
it's hard for me anyway to say an adult can't do something, especially if again it's disclosed. But it does go back to my point, and my biggest problem with AI is that the virtual companion is taking place of a person that could be a real life connection for somebody, and that's the worst part, in my opinion.
Also, those virtual companions, you're hearing the worst case stories. I mean, though I think this is dumb, I think it's going to continue. Whether you think it's moral or ethical, I think your virtual companions are going to continue. I think they'll get better at them because they're going to use this as a consumer product. They're not going to want them to be off in themselves. Like they're going to want them to spend money. They're going to want them to continue to speak to the companion. So they're going to have them better trained to continue the stupid shit. All right, that's all I got.
Yeah,
No,
and in
that's
that
fair.
case, it's also not like the moral failing of the tool itself. It's of whoever's enabling a child to use these ungated tools.
Yeah, I agree.
Next topic. Using AI-powered mass surveillance and tracking. So this is probably
Straight
a
hell.
heated topic.
Straight hell. Deepest layer of hell, straight there.
No way in hell. Nuh-uh. Mm-mm.
So slip and slide directly into the deepest pit.
Yes.
Yeah,
Consent.
pretty much.
There's been a
Consent
lot
is
of
the only. That's the only one I would pull out of that is consent. If you consent to be part of a mass surveillance and tracking, then fine. Other than that, no.
but that's not what this is implying.
Well, I mean, if you've got Google and you opt into the maps, having your location tracker, so you can look
Yeah.
back at the end of the year and see where you've been. I think that's included in this.
But like
I would-
also, does informed consent have any meaning if you don't know the nitty-gritties of like how that technology works, who it's being sold to, and who is using it for what purpose?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, people take advantage of ignorance. That's a tough one, but I understand what you're saying.
And so the whole concept of consent, mostly around AI, is built into an opt-in versus opt-out model, right? And the opt-in model says, I consent to allowing my information to be used, versus opt-out, I do not consent, I don't want it used. And the law today is very infantile in that it assumes everyone opts in. In other words, the default statement is, well, you didn't say we couldn't, so we're going to do it. right? And that's kind of how the law is today. Like, you go into a city, there are cameras everywhere, right? And you have, I don't know, this is a loaded topic, but like the Charlie Kirk assassination. And they used those cameras and they used AI facial recognition to try and pinpoint and catch the bad guy, air quote bad guy here, right? So does that change your opinion on the use of this technology or no?
No. I want to say that they also they kind of put you into these ways that you can't escape it. Like you purchase your phone, right? And it's like, what are your mapping options? They give you one and you have to opt in to use it, or you can no longer use that feature on your phone. You know, and things like that. They like lock you into things, or you cannot use a device or system you already purchased.
That's fair. And again, that goes back into the opt in or opt out. Like, nestled somewhere in the document, the checkbox that you say, yes, I will use this tool, this product. Hidden within that is most certainly a line somewhere that only a lawyer would recognize. Like, there's no clear way to do that today.
This whole conversation is making me kind of feel bad about our society that we live in. I don't know. It's just me.
Wow, no shit.
Oh, you're just now feeling that, huh? Oh, wow.
Here, I'll play some AI music for you and you'll feel better. All right, next topic. AI-powered sleep analysis. Using an AI tool to listen to you sleep.
I'm for anything medical that advances medical.
Sure.
Absolutely the same here.
Nutmeg?
Yay. I like this one.
You like this one?
I think it's creepy, but if it helps you, sure.
So, okay. No, this is maybe an overwhelming yay. Why AI?
Yeah, and it's not like an AI agent listening to you sleep. It's more so just we collect this data and then run it through pattern analysis, which isn't really an AI agent.
Yeah. And then they use that to maybe help diagnose some of your sleeping issues. Oh, so here's a good one.
Oh boy, howdy.
Oh boy.
Deep fake celebrity videos. So this is PG-13. So I'm not going to go too graphic into this. But taking someone's face, their body, basically their biometrics, and creating videos of that person.
Without consent, no.
It's a hard no.
Hard no?
Yeah. Like, unambiguous, no qualifications, no.
The only the yeses you have to think about are like Nicolas Cage and that unbearable weight of unbearable weight of massive talent, where they deep faked him as a younger him. He was in that movie. He was doing the voice of the younger him, stuff like that. That's the only place where there's actual consent. And I mean, they were using it for a good reason. You can't go find another young Nick Cage. It's not out there.
They did that with Mark Hamill too.
I think that is that a deep fake though? I mean, deep fake
they said it was deep fake.
Intentionally using it to fake something. Okay, all right, yeah, I guess I can see that.
They had him playing the part and they deep faked his face, and they said it was deep fake. So
interesting.
Yeah, but again, like, the moral failing isn't necessarily on the tool; it's on like the people using it.
There's a question on this wheel about liability, and maybe we'll get it. But let's find out. Next question. AI-powered real-time translation. And it doesn't have to be necessarily real-time. So, as a short story, Friday, the other day, a certain unnamed individual on this call was in a car accident, was in the emergency room, and there was a gentleman in the emergency room whose cell phone flashlight was on. And so we said, hey, your flashlight's on, and the person did not speak English. They handed their phone over and Google Translate, and so we typed, hey, your flashlight on your phone is on, It translated it into that person's native language. They read it, they laughed, they turned off their flashlight. So that's not real time. There are also tools that fit in your ear like a hearing aid that will obviously have a delay. They use this at the UN and whatnot. So AI powered real time translation. Yay or nay?
Yeah, it's good.
Yay.
I
Yeah, I
think
think that's one of the more. Sorry, go ahead.
it's useful. However, a lot of times it isn't accurate.
So it's maybe a technology that needs a little more tweaking to become more accurate.
But it's more accurate than not understanding at all.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fair. So the best case scenario would be, hey, I speak German, right? The less ideal but still a good idea is that I can tap into Google Translate, say, hey, I want a sandwich. It translates to German. I hold up the phone. Worst case scenario is I just don't talk at all, right? So
I mean, German for sandwich is just sandwich.
I see.
You could.
I have been
It would still work.
pwned. Well said, well said. Now I want a sandwich. All right, let's spin this egg. There's some slow pitches in here, and there's some heavy topics in here. All right, here's a slow pitch. AI-powered vacuum cleaner.
Wow. Damn.
Yay
Sure,
or
why
nay?
not?
Yeah, sure.
I feel like a lot of these have a little like disclaimer, and the disclaimer is depending on who's collecting that data and what it's being used for.
Yep.
So in this
Like
case,
Roomba selling
there.
data to the feds to
There.
optimize home raids.
there's a potential negative aspect of using an AI-powered robot vacuum cleaner. So my Roomba
But the
has a
moral
camera.
failing isn't necessarily on the AI vacuum feature, it's on the scummy corporations. I'm noticing a pattern.
We're going to have to burn it all down. All right, what do we have? AI-powered smart thermostat. Very similar to the Roomba, right?
I'm fine with it.
Hell yeah.
As a certified ethical hacker, I would like to point out that if you can access and use AI on your thermostat, other people could as well, and you potentially are running the risk of, and this hasn't happened yet, but it's most certainly going to happen, like ransomware attacks where someone in the winter shuts down your thermostat unless you pay money. So that there are drawbacks to this, most notably about who accesses that data. I think Bubba just said this. Who accesses the data and what are they doing with it? But again,
I'm gonna just drop in here real quick to the ethical hacker, and say, yeah, but it's also a thermostat. How much information does it have to store? You hardware reset it with the hacker out and get your heat back.
fair.
Jarvis, cook this man alive.
Jarvis.
Yeah, like I actually don't foresee that as an issue. People being held hostage by their thermostat. There's not that much going into your thermostat that you wouldn't just reset it.
So, yeah, and there's a lot of directions I could go on this, but let's just say I lock it down so no inputs will work on it. The average user doesn't know how to disconnect the wiring and stuff. So there are a lot of, I think, side ethical questions here, but yeah, point taken. Let's spin this.
I got nothing. You're not wrong.
I want a good one. Here's a heavy one. And this is closely tied to deepfake stuff, but let's go the direction of AI-powered adult content.
Feel like that could cover a lot of things. If you're not taking someone's likeness, then I don't think it matters.
So someone creating content that involves non-human children. In other words,
Oh,
AI
yeah, you're right.
generated.
Adult
No, you're right.
content.
Well, that's
yeah,
fair.
You're right. You're right.
Is the
That
adult
could be
content
harmful.
between adults?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I
using the term
apply
adult
all
content.
the
as-
moral contingencies as normal adult content to this.
Yeah, but like also what are you using to train it on?
Right,
Oh.
and that's
That's
a
a good
failing
question.
of data collection. Like, don't steal from artists.
So, in the news recently, a youth pastor and teacher took pictures from the yearbook of his school and fed them into an AI model and created adult content using the likenesses of his students. He was caught, and to my recollection, he was actually convicted. Don't quote me on that. So I'm using the term allegedly, but this was in the news lately as kind of a wake-up call for what ethical issues are coming about as a use of AI. In that case, and again, all people are considered innocent until proven guilty by a court of law, all of that. And, these are allegations, but the overlying question is this individual allegedly used images of his students without their consent. And that's why he was, brought up on charges. So let's talk about this one.
Yeah, people are fucked up.
I don't know what the conversation is on
So
this
the
one. I mean, that,
TLDR is
like James said, using somebody else's likeness, no. And I think further, I think that anything that is illegal in regular adult content should be illegal in AI powered.
Yep, exactly. It's not necessarily a fault of the AI, just of shitty people.
I think we kind of touched on this one before, right? But AI-powered medical diagnoses. I know, like, Nutmeg is on the phone, and I know she's used, like, ChatGPT and things like that. There are other products and programs out there that are specifically designed to take input of symptoms and things and to help you maybe identify potential maladies, illnesses, etc. Thoughts on this one?
I know
I think
this
it's a
has
good
caused
start.
a lot of issues. Like, there have been people that have, died from taking poor advice from AI. So I think that, you have to really be careful. But I have found it to be very, very, very helpful.
Yeah, I have as well, and you're right. The problem in that is the blind faith in it, because large language models hallucinate. They can tell you the wrong thing, and I've had that experience. But at the same time, I would not stop using it. It's been very helpful for me, especially over the last year with some issues I've been having.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's not
Trust
unlike
verify.
searching. It's not unlike searching for things that are wrong with you. I think it's a little better because
Right.
it can be targeted. But at the same time, you should after you find out what you find out, the next step would always be to go speak to a human doctor.
Exactly. It's
Definitely.
not a
It can
doctor.
save a
A
lot
replacement,
of
right.
time and money, though. Like,
And there's different
months, things that would have taken doctors months to figure out,
Yep, 100%.
otherwise. It's now
there's
like I can spend a couple hours figuring it out myself and go and say, I'm pretty sure this is what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
and there's like different scopes to it too, like bouncing ideas off an LLM versus like some of my peers in college were building like AI models that detected cancerous cells in sample sets. It's like there's different layers to it, but don't use AI as a doctor replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another one where the distinction between AI in general and like LLMs is very, very, very important.
Yeah. And even just like using AI for things that aren't really AI, like it's just a couple vectors you're throwing a picture through to detect anomalies.
Got it. So by and large, we're hearing yays, but again, obviously, it's not a replacement for humans. Got it.
Hey, Mr. Radish, I'm going to have to tap out here in a minute.
Okay, well, we'll wrap up here. I'll do one or two more quick ones, and then we'll wrap. Is that cool?
Yeah, I can do one more.
Here's an easy one. Using AI for budgeting, financials.
Do
Yay.
it.
Rings
Yay.
free, yay across the board.
Another big bad disclaimer about who has access to your data. But yes.
True.
I want to find one more heavy one, and then we'll wrap it.
Yeah, I'm just approaching them from the context of I run my own stuff offline, so there's no data collection.
Ask and ye shall receive. Using AI to create religious content. And I'm using that term very loosely and deliberately. I'm trying very hard to leave my own personal bias out, but using AI to potentially indoctrinate other people.
I have I'm kind of untorn on this one because I have started really enjoying watching all these people say praise Jesus on obviously like AI generated photos of like Jesus carrying people out of airplanes and shit like that. Like I get a kick out of it. So God,
It's so funny.
it's unethical, but my God, sometimes you just gotta laugh, and that's all I gotta say about it.
What is the distinction between creating? Why else would you create religious content? So
Well,
indoctrination.
I have
that's
something.
all religious content is
Right,
for
that's true.
indoctrination. I
Yeah.
mean, so
Good point.
to create religious content, it's like anything else. I mean, anything else that you're trying to create, whether it's a political thing or or even a moral argument or whatever. I mean, it's just a tool.
I have a couple things to say about this. I
Go
know
for
for
it.
a while, like a year or two ago, there was a big, maybe even longer, there was a thing going around about pastors plagiarizing just from other pastors. Like, because now, sermons were shared online and they could just like take another person's sermon and memorize it and present it. Okay, so that's one thing, but like sort of related, but not. I guess you could tie it to this. But then I have a new friend who is actually a minister, a woman, and she does it part time and she fills in. So, like, if churches have their pastor is sick or something, and they need a replacement, and they'll call her in. And she said to me, she's like, oh, I have to be there for 3 weeks, and it's a denomination that's not her denomination. And they want her to not just write sermons for these 3 Sundays, but write all the calls to worship, all the prayers, all the stuff. They're not really giving her much. It's not her full-time job, She's just going in cold, things she does nothing about. And she said, well, I just put it into Chat GPT and I have my stuff. And I'm like, wow. Like, I don't know what to think about that.
What better place to get it from? I mean, obviously.
Right?
Yeah.
It's true, but it was a thought of like, yeah.
I mean, all the words of man are there. Perfect place.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like all the moral issues are again like not really with the AI because people have been plagiarizing and brainwashing for thousands of years. So like, who cares,
Also, I never thought I'd have another minister friend in my entire life ever. So I'm shocked by this. Side note.
I'm thinking about starting a church and having AI write everything for me because it's really profitable these days.
Oh, we've talked about it. We're like, we could start our own cult.
Yeah.
Dude,
Oh, yeah,
worship
people are
my
doing
cat.
forever.
And AI could do everything. AI could not only like create all the indoctrination like material, all the sermons, prayers. It could also do the finances. Oh my God.
We are missing out. James is taking notes feverishly right now.
Oh man, this is an untapped market.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we're talking about using AI for communication, and God, I do that on my job all the time. I don't personally, but everybody is now. Hey, write me an email about this. I did take a document a couple of weeks ago and said, hey, out of this document, we're creating 3 groups. Write me a charter for these 3 groups, and bam, bam, there it was. I mean, so what's the difference besides if you want to set religious things in a different area or context, and then fine. But otherwise, what's the difference? I mean, you're just using it to communicate ideas and make it
Tool
Do
simpler.
for
So
you have, if you're
a
writing,
tool,
saying
right?
a sermon, do you have to disclose though, like, AI wrote this sermon for me?
Do you have to though?
So-
Because people
Why?
don't.
Yeah, I mean, so why would that make a difference to you?
Oh, to me, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just saying, there could be within that subset, they might ethically feel that their
Yes.
pastor should disclose that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. I'm just looking at it from a point of view as kind of an objective point of view, that are using it to communicate. And then some people, see religion as something a lot more personal and intimate, and so they may have different rules for it. But, I don't.
Well said and good discussion. So, closing question for our panelists. I'll give you just, a few brief seconds to answer this question as we go around. Complete this sentence. Well, that made sense. Complete the sentence in one sentence, huh? Complete the sentence. AI is ethical for creators when ...
Well, we went over a whole list of ideas today. So AI is ethical for creators when you go back and rewatch this and kind of take notes and write it down, because there were all these different situations. It was varied based off of there's so many different variables. So AI is ethical when certain variables happen. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Well said, James. Thank you. Next up, Big Bald Ben.
I would say, the better answer is to go back and watch everything that we talked about. I think a general rule of thumb would probably be when it's used as a tool to assist in a creative endeavor, not when it's used to create wholly.
Well said. Bubba. AI is ethical for creators when ...
I'd say when used as a tool or a means for human motive, with all the contingencies of like human morals on top of that.
Well said and interesting. Lasagna.
I'm going to try to say a version of this that won't get me put on a watch list. But AI is ethical for creators when large corporations are held accountable and there are good accountability structures in place. And also, can we please overhaul society while we're at it? I'd like a pony too.
You're good.
No worries. No watch list. You're good. Good point. And Nutmeg.
I don't know. I'm last, so I got nothing. You guys covered it.
Covered it all. I am going to use mine. I'm just going to say, with consent. Consent all the way through from the data sets. Ingesting the data set, there needs to be consent from the original creators, whether it's an artist, a writist, an author, etc. Whoever the original content creator is, should have the ability to consent or not consent to their information. Extending all the way out to the consumer level, my opinion is that consent would be critical so that people aren't passing off information that they didn't legitimately take effort to create. So that's kind of how I would answer it. Consent is the key word. All right, so we've gone a little bit over. This has been a very, very interesting topic. I want to thank my panelists today. All of you have done fantastic, and we kept it very, very tame, very, respectful. It was a very good, respectful discussion, for which I am grateful. So thank you to our panelists. In wrapping up, I want to thank Reading Brewery for their amazing soda. And again, I want to shout out in Northern Harrisburg, our local treat of the week, Pop's Snack Outlet. Again, if you're in Northern Harrisburg, absolutely swing by. I promise you, and they're not paying me to say this, you'll go in and you'll feel like you're part of their family. So a shout out to Pop's Snack Outlet. As always, I'd like to shout out my dear friends and family over at the FDM Network. Snapper Nickel streams every Monday and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to check that out if you have interest in Fortnite gaming and private custom games and whatnot. So, yeah, those are my shout outs. Next week, I am taking the week off. It is Nutmeg's birthday. So...
Woo!
All of us want to say happy birthday early to you, Nutmeg. You are going to be 29.
Oh, thank you.
29 is a good age. So
Good
congratulations.
year.
And also, this is the last Fluffy Radish stream of the year, so I hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. However you celebrate this time of year, may it be filled with happiness. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a very, very wonderful week.